entry. Let's go to the castle. Cainhurst makes my brain burst. And that's why I love going there. Hello everyone. Welcome to part 8 of my ongoing solo playthrough with a focus on lore and level design of Bloodborne. Now, quick recap. What we have done most recently in terms of bosses that we've defeated is we've defeated Vicar Amelia, and we have examined how the nighttime world has changed in Cathedral Warden and Yharnam, and even in the Himwick Charnel Lane. And we have headed briefly into the Forbidden Woods, where we were able to obtain a back passage to Yosefka's clinic. We've met Imposter Yosefka, who's told us to keep sending her people to test, and I think I might send the blind beggar to Imposter Yosefka so that I can still complete her questline. And more importantly, we find on the table where we began the game, now there is a summons to Cainhurst Castle. We went to the Himwick Charnel Crossing and presented that summons. It was addressed to us, and here we are in Cainhurst. Now, Cainhurst is a very particular area with a lot of fascinating lore, so let's cover the basics first. So first off, completely optional area. You do not have to go to Cainhurst ever, and in fact, the first time I ever played through, I played through blind, and I had no flipping clue that Cainhurst was even a thing. So my very first playthrough did not include any Cainhurst content. Impressive to me that a developer can have that amount of discipline. To have content that's accessible, but not make it required. It makes it a very special thing when you find a place like this, because you say to yourself, they wouldn't hide a place like this, a whole extra level behind some optional stuff. Well, yeah, they would. Now, Cainhurst historically is interesting because the architecture seems to be much, much older than Yharnam. The political system is also much older. This is a castle, implying that there's nobility here. And I think what Himwick represents is sort of a fiefdom. And a fiefdom is, you know, a small township of peasants that lives under the protection, perhaps in this case, not a protection, but supposedly it should be a protection by the castle and its knights. Now, I think that this implies that Himwick was, I think, present as a fiefdom to Cainhurst specifically, perhaps even prior to the rise of the Healing Church, because the Healing Church and Cainhurst seem to have beef. The Healing Church seems to believe that there is a vileness to the blood of the Cainhurst nobles, something that is forbidden and different from the beast blood that the Healing Church uses, or rather, the holy medium that the old blood that the Church uses. However, we know that the blood that the Church uses does transform people into beasts. The interesting thing, I think, is that the beasts that we see transformed here are notably different creatures than the beasts that we see in Yharnam. Now, there could be a number of reasons for this. It could be simply a different pathogen in the blood. It could be a different origin of the blood. It could be that it's a different Old One's blood at work here in Cainhurst. It could be that the quality of the blood, and specifically the I gotta be careful. Specifically, the purity or the lineage of the blood causes different transformations into different creatures, and this guy's gonna kill me if I'm not careful. Now, it could also be that the Cainhurst bloodline is more Thumerian, or closer to the Thumerian ancestry than those in Yharnam, because of the nobility that, you know, royal bloodlines imply. Oof! This guy is effing me up. Don't go back over there. Come back over here. Come back over here. So we're going to be exploring for some of the unique character designs. Now, in terms of level design, this level is incredible. It's just a wonderful homage to sort of actual Castlevania level design. You know, here we are in a very much a sort of Dracula's castle, full of beasts that used to be more human, who engage in blood sucking, very vampiric. Man, these guys are gonna smosh me. I think I just need to stick to heavy attacks, keep my distance. Heavy attacks seem to be the only ones that stagger. Oof. Come on. There we go. Oh, give me my health back. Damn you. Now I want to go a little bit into some arcane biology here. Now later on we will talk about the importance of cephalopods and mollusks. That's basically like slugs and squids and snails. I think that there is a lot to be discussed there. But we'll also discuss sort of a close family of cephalopods and mollusks, which are annelids. And annelids all start in the same biological larval stage called a trochophore. And the thing that distinguishes an annelid from a mollusk or a cephalopod is whether or not that larva undergoes torsion in its larval stage. Now, torsion simply means spinning or contracting. And the reason that snail shells have spin is because in their larval stage, when they exist as this larva that has like dermal tissue on the top, and or dermal plates on the top and sort of normal formative tissues on the bottom, they twist, and the dermal tissue that grows into the shape of a spiral based on the direction of the twist is what informs the spin of a snail's shell. Now, annelids differ from mollusks in that they do not undergo torsion. They instead turn into worms or otherwise segmented creatures. And annelids are the common ancestor of anthropods, and anthropods are a very large group of creatures that we can understand as being mostly insect. They're segmented. They have... Oh yeah, you noticed me, didn't you? But you're too gluttonous to even care. They're segmented, and oftentimes their dermal plating grows into sort of an exoskeleton. So we have in the class of anthropod, we have things like lobsters and crabs, as well as things like scorpions and other insects. One of those insects, roundabout way of saying this, is a flea. Now you'll also notice that while we see a lot of these anthropod type transformations amongst these bloodsuckers, i.e. looking like ticks and fleas, we also see an annelid presence in Cainhurst, in the presence of these terrifying tapeworms that lay at the bottom of this gorge. I think that there is a connection between these sorts of tapeworms that we see and vile bloodedness, because we know that some people see vermin in the blood of vile bloods, and those vermin are similarly segmented worm-like creatures, only they're centipedes. They're the anthropodic versions rather than the analytic versions. The analytic versions are like roundworms, tube worms, tapeworms, things that usually exist in fluidity. Or in fluids, I should say. Now, in order to safely explore, I'll need to take these guys out, and this might be a fool's errand since I'm already low on blood vials. I think I want to get him on more stable ground that's not so close to that gorge. Yes, come to me. Now this is just about the earliest you can do Cainhurst, so I am very much not prepared. A lot of people will encounter Cainhurst very late in the game. Are you stuck? Please tell me that you're stuck. I am not above cheesing you because you can take me out in 2 fell swoops. Blast. Another blood vial down. Oh, I hope that some of these boys drop me some blood vials. And longtime viewers will recognize my favorite move, which is throwing knife cheese. Haha. The most dishonorable death one can have. I am getting a good amount of souls from these puppies. I think it's like 4K for each one. That's right. That's right. Come on over here. And similarly, we want to get him either stuck on some environment or over here to a place that has more equal footing. There we go. Come on, buddy. Come on over here. You're pretty skinny. Come on. Yeah, you can't decide if you want to fight me or if you want to go look for more juicy droplets. Speaking of, we do have to read the most recent juicy droplet. Oh, and see, there we have one of the annelids on the ground. I'm referring to annelids by their biological term. They're not called annelids in game. I'm actually not sure what these worms are called, but you gotta watch out for them. Big sweeping attacks, best way to take out those guys, I find. Yeah, this guy's struggling with the environment. He doesn't seem to want to come up here, but I want him to come up here. You're the last one. You're the last. Come on, buddy. Stop running away from me. This guy's very timid. Just gotta get him on the chin. Don't want to get near him when he's doing his old tongue fling. Powerful move, tongue fling. Whew, that was a close one. He almost feigned right away from that. Ooh, okay. Well, I've exhausted 18 frickin' blood vials. Just shows you how this farming's going to be great. Alright, now before we head into the gorge and examine some of these annelid creatures, let's go ahead and read a Frenzied Cold Blood 9. And it looks like all Frenzied has the same, so 7, 8, and 9 all have the same one. A mind teetering on the very brink. So that just implies that the stage of transformation is very, very late in Cainhurst. There's almost nothing human remaining. And we'll see that confirmed very shortly as we traverse the level. Now this is a really freaking terrifying lead up, especially if you're scared of snakes like I am. These things aren't snakes, but the similarities are obvious. But if you just look at what's on the ground, you'll fail to notice the things that are actually latched to the wall. And so as you go down this corridor, like 8 or 9 of these little things pops out on you. And they can be very difficult to hit if you're not using the right moves with your weapons, or you don't have a weapon that has a wide, low vertical arc, or horizontal arc. Fortunately, like you see, they're falling off here. Gross! So they can very easily overpower you if you go too quickly into this gorge. Fortunately, the transformed Hunter's Axe does have the low horizontal sweep. It's heavy L2, which is very well adapted to these gross noodle boys, danger noodles. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There should be another one over there, 10. 11 so far. God, it's a lot of them. I think even more will pop out here. And
here.
Tempering Blood Gemstone. Alright. We have safely eliminated every enemy in the courtyard, which we probably didn't really need to do. Really, there's only like 2 to 3 flea guys that we absolutely have to take out to make this run. But it does give us access to safely explore this area. Again, we're seeing... So the interesting thing here is that these statues are super normal. We are not really seeing weird statues. We are seeing normal nobility, like Hellenistic statue. Yes, wondrous statue indeed. People enjoy to see breasts even when it's hewn on stone. Alright, so one of our tasks is going to be finding out what the heck Numbing Mist is. So, throw to create a mist cloud that numbs a hunter's life essence and prevents the restoration of HP, said to be used by the blood hunters of Cainhurst. Its recipe is a secret closely guarded by the line of nobles inhabiting the castle. It's a secret closely guarded by the nobles. And what does it do? Let's remind ourselves. It prevents the restoration of HP. Now I think that what this implies... Ooh, the door opens on its own. A very Dracula's Castle thing. And I think that now that I'm thinking about it, that the mystery of the ghosts that we discussed briefly in the Thumaru video, where we discussed how we don't see very many ghosts, but the ghosts that we do see are either wraiths in the labyrinth or these weeping women here in Cainhurst, these Cainhurst nobles. And I'm wondering now if the numbing mist, perhaps overuse of it, or some sort of principle of the numbing mist, has to do with the ghostly state of the nobles in Cainhurst. Because they are certainly misty, and ghosts are numb, baby. We still have some of the peasants alive. In fact, the only, I think, human enemies present in Cainhurst are these sort of peasants that seem to have some sort of ritualistic power. I'm not sure if that's because they are witches, perhaps taken from the fiefdom of Cainhurst and employed as sort of higher-up serfs here in the castle itself, or if these are castle-specific rituals that the servants are in on because they have to be. But it's interesting to me that these servants are not dead. And they do seem relatively similar. Hey, how you doing? Relatively similar to the witches' design in Hemwick. Let's take a closer look. Okay, so they are beastly. It looks like they're men. They wear this sort of like neck floof. It's common of nobles in this era. A head wrapping. And maybe that's not beasthood. Maybe that's just a long beard, because the hands don't seem beastly at all. Neither do the feet. We'd expect to see longer hands, perhaps the growth of extra fingers and digits, and hair all around the face. It could just be that these guys are old beardies. Wear little hats. Okay, so the women here are crying. There's been some sort of tragedy in Cainhurst. We will soon find out the nature of that tragedy. Yep, we're going to be upgrading our strength with a lot of these souls. Nice, the full 3 heavy. Alright, now these ladies appear so out of nowhere that, like, I'm guessing there's going to be one who tries to gank me when I open this chest. Now this is the primary reason to come to Cainhurst early, is to start accessing these blood tinge focused weapons, and to get yourself the Executioner badge, which I believe also grants the Chikage. Let's take a look at the Reiter Palash. I think the Reiter Palash is a skill-based weapon, it's like skill and blood tinge. A weapon wielded by the Knights of Cainhurst combines an elegant knight's sword with a peculiar firearm wielded by the Cainhurst Order. The peculiar firearm. The old nobles, long-time imbibers of blood, are no strangers to the sanguine plague. So long-time imbibers of blood. And they're no strangers to the plague either. Now, notice they don't call it the beastly plague here. They call it the sanguine plague, the blood plague. And the disposal of beasts was a discreet task left to their servants, or knights, as they were called for the sake of appearances. Interesting. So basically, just like the Healing Church in Yarnham has something like Vicar Amelia to take out the swaths of beast that their blood ministration creates. Similarly, here in Cainhurst, there was an order of servants and knights who were charged with discreetly removing beasts. So I think that that is a pretty direct indication. Oh, treat blood with care. Pretty direct indication that these bloodsucker enemies, and later on the gargoyle enemies that we see here in Cainhurst, are a variant of beasthood for the Cainhurst nobles. Whether that's a product of the refinement of the blood that the Cainhurst nobles are used to because of their nobility, or that it has to do with their noble ancestry itself, perhaps as Thumerian, because they do seem, even the ghost seems taller than a normal Yarnamite, and we know that Thumerians are much taller than normal Yarnamites. So I speculated earlier that perhaps this ghostly status that a lot of these Cainhurst women have could have to do with blood tinge, like how much quicksilver is present in the blood of these Cainhurst noblewomen. But the fact that we only see ghosts who are women could indicate that it has more to do with fertility and the qualities of sort of womanly blood, to put it nicely. We've talked a lot about that in previous videos. There are some pretty direct references, I believe, to menstrual blood, and there's some pretty overt themes regarding childbirth and fertility throughout Bloodborne. And so it could be that this sort of ghost-like apparition status is something that only women undergo, because we only see ghostly women. We don't see ghostly men, and I guess you could argue that in items like the Accursed Brew and the Executioner Gauntlets, those are technically ghosts, or wraiths, or evil spirits of some sort. But those are more of a weaponized, like, ritualistic imprisonment kind of ghostly. Less a full bodily form kind of ghostly. Ooh, and we see our first Bloodstone Chunks. Let's see if Bloodstone Chunks have a different description. Solid chunk that forms in cold blood. Yes, they have a different bottom description. A chunk will never appear in the blood of an ordinary human. Seek deadlier foes if Bloodstone Chunks are needed. So again, just more reinforcement that we are not dealing with ordinary humans when we're talking about the Cainhurst nobility. They are either extraordinary humans, or they're not even humans. They could be Thumerian. Now, if they were Thumerian, I would expect to see more gargoyles and like bloodsuckers in the labyrinth dungeons. And we do see bloodsuckers, but we see bloodsuckers and wraiths, but we do not see gargoyles. It could be that, well, I'm not sure. We'll talk about this later. Okay, so there's an interesting event that occurs when we walk into this room. Very haunted castle-esque. Let's enjoy. And in fact, let's go ahead and turn off our HUD for the full effect. Quicksilver bullets. So this lends further credence to the theory that this ghostly status and sort of the tinge of one's blood, the quality of one's blood, is linked to the amount of mercury in it, the amount of quicksilver present in it. And perhaps the more potent one's blood becomes with quicksilver, the more one is further drawn into either blood sainthood or nobility, imbibing in very high quality bloods, the greater that one's blood tinge becomes, and this could affect what happens to these people upon death, perhaps keeping them in their ghostly apparatus. Alright, so we have a new item. I believe this will be our noble dress. Yes. So the noble dress, the most important thing about it is that this is pretty much exactly what, and I'm going to put it on. This is pretty much exactly what Ariana wears. Let's read it. A finely tailored Bordeaux dress, worn by the nobles of the old bloodline that traces back to the forsaken Castle Cainhurst. So we've got confirmation that it's an old bloodline. We see that this very much is the dress that Ariana wears, implying that even though she is somewhat of a lady of the night, that perhaps she escaped somehow from Cainhurst when the executioners came and sort of laid waste to the place, thanks to Master Logarius. And this would also explain why Adela is afraid of Ariana and doesn't like it when the hunter accepts blood from Ariana, because as the untrusting man tells us, she recognizes something that was never present in her own blood, Adela that is, and also she recognizes something that's close to that which was once forbidden by the Healing Church. Presumably a reference to vile blood. Such a beautiful, beautiful level. Perhaps my favorite ever boss lead up to. Because we're not just entering Castle Cainhurst in its decrepit form, we're also entering Castle Cainhurst in its decrepit form after it's been ransacked by the Healing Church. See a good amount of painting. Some people theorize that this young lady is Ariana because she's blonde and she's sort of wearing the same colors, the maroon dress that Ariana wears, which would imply that she is a princess of some sort. Royalty, definitely. That could be Annelids. We don't really ever see Annelids without her mask on. Perhaps that is Annelids. Let's pay attention to the clothes that these women are wearing to try to see. When we encounter Annelids. Now this is a really fascinating painting because, as we'll see when we go later and deeper into the Chalice dungeons and in fact encounter them in the leading up to a boss fight, that is pretty much exactly what the Bell Maidens, Thumerian Bell Maidens wear. So this implies that either Thumerian Bell Maidens traveled to Cainhurst, or that Cainhurst still sort of kept up a lot of the rituals of their Thumerian ancestry, or that they've learned about the rituals of Thumerian ancestry. Now we do see Thumerian ancestors in the Chalice dungeons, and they are definitely noble, and they fight with blood tinge, so I think that there's a very good chance that the Cainhurst bloodline is somewhat Thumerian. I think that this Thumerian Bell Maiden cloak on this woman tells a lot of that story there. Now, pretty much all of the paintings that we'll see here are displayed on this wall. A lot of the other ones are just repeated. Some of them bigger than they were on the other wall. It could be that that's even Ariana grown from that picture. I wonder who that might be. Alright, so the things to remember is how that lady's dress looks, and how that lady's dress looks. And when we do eventually meet Annelids, I'd like to pay attention there and sort of see what we can see. Alright, onward. I really could use some blood vials here. Not complaining, just hoping, just putting it out there. Alright, now here you can see our first lurking gargoyle. I'm wondering if the gargoyles represent sort of a class distinction between the bloodsuckers. If I had to guess, I would guess that the bloodsuckers are likely the nobles, just because bloodsuckers seem very much drenched in, you know, gluttony, satiation, overindulgence. That's a very noble set of archetypes. You know, an aristocratic sort of archetype. And because gargoyles are sort of sentinels, you know, guards that overlook things, I'm thinking that the gargoyles are descendant either of servants or knights of Cainhurst. Creatures that have a bit more discipline than the nobles would have. And since the females that we see are ghostly maidens, could be that these transformed creatures are men. And that, again, women do not transform in the same ways as men do. Which I think is a point of view that is fairly backed up by the evidence outside of Cainhurst as well. Another Bloodstone Chunk. This is wonderful. That guy's trying to get back up here. Don't want to get ganked on this staircase. He seems to be on the other side. Let us see if we can cheese him. Do not hit me with your screech. Interesting that they have screech attacks. Because we know that Beast Roar is something that... okay, yeah, I guess I'll sit down here. Thank you, PS4 motion controls. So you know that a Beast Roar is an important thing. An important part of beasthood. In Yharnam. So it could be that this sort of sonic power... No! Oh, please don't kill me. Please don't kill me. Okay, I'm officially out of blood vials. And this is a move I call a runaway fast from the dangerous man. I wonder if I have any of Ariana's blood. Oh, I have Yosefka's blood. Haha! Okay, back at full health. Well, I think fortunately we are just coming up on a shortcut, but I have to be really careful with how I engage because there's a pretty strong enemy prior to that, and the shortcut itself is in the library, which is full of not just wraiths, but wraiths who can magically bind thee with their shrieking banshee-like powers. Whew, okay, that guy's down. I at least want to get myself some Executioner's garb. I quite enjoy the garb of the Executioner. Surprised we don't have a note about boobs here. Usually you do find a note about boobs. Okay, now this is a servant who we have to watch out for. Let's engage. Stays just out of my range. Oof, got there. Yeah, that was the one I was worried about. Ooh, and this one gives me 2 blood vials. I'm very close to full. I think here we'll finally get our Executioner's gloves and our Executioner's garb, one or the other. Although I'm nervous about Gargoyles. Not the TV show. No reason to be nervous about that. You can hear the ghostly women crying in the library. So here are 2 of the gargoyles. Let's travel quite far. Oh, it's sort of like firecrackers. Little sonic booms they make. Alright, one down. One to go. I didn't realize that they sonic boomed before. Yes, yes. Less with the sonic attacks, more with the grab attempts, please. Those are predictable. Ba-boom. Alright. Regis, welcome back to Regis Philbin Plays Bloodborne. Wow, twin Bloodstone Shards. Haha, what are we talking about? Olsen twin Bloodborne Shards? No thank you. This has concluded the painful rendition of Regis Plays Bloodborne. Please like and subscribe for me never to do that again. Alright, we've got our gauntlets, our trousers, and our garb. So this piece of item really tells the story of what's happened at Cainhurst. Attire worn by the band of executioners commanded by the martyr Ligarius. So we recognize this attire as attire that Alfred wears. We know that Alfred has talked about being on a quest to find Cainhurst because he knows that the Queen of Cainhurst is still alive and he wants to continue his master's wishes, and he's referenced martyr Ligarius as his master. Later became the basis for all church attire, with its heavy draping of holy shawl. As the great Ligarius once said, acts of goodness are not always wise, and acts of evil are not always foolish. But regardless, we shall always strive to be good. If that's some church doublespeak for you. Let's look at the gauntlets. The brass rivets are unique to the executioners and reflect their adoration of hand-to-hand combat. So they're quite enticed in pugilism and in fighting with fists. That sort of indicates that they're brawlers and they're maybe a little bit bloodthirsty. Hey, I ain't wearing no pants. And the executioner's trousers. Nothing new there. But we know that they look very similar to the Argyle Black. Alright, so let's do a little bit of a comparison. Pretty substantial increase here, and the only thing we lose, I think, is, compared to Gascoigne's garb, is, fire resistance. And pretty stylish, too, you know? Let's check out the gloves. Very good blunt defense, but a pretty significant drop of other physical. And for the pants, again, lots of blunt, but a big hit to thrust and physical. Very resilient to arcane, fire, and bolt. Looks like less frenzy resistance, so they do go mad pretty easily, but more beasthood resistance, slow and rapid poison resistance as well. Not a bad set of clothes by any means, but I love my Argyle Black trousers. They're wonderful trousers, they serve me well. Oh, let's try a new hat. How about, huh? I think the hunter's hat might still be the best all-around physical defense available to us. Yeah. So we're not going to change that anytime soon. Alright. Now, where are we health-wise? At full. And we've got to be careful here. Let's open this, get our Vile Blood Register. Sort of a covenant item. And because we are terrifyingly low on blood vials, sitting at just one, and quite plump with blood echoes, let's go ahead and make a little trip back to the Hunter's Dream. Get some more strength. Hopefully make quicker work of the apparitions weeping in the library. Not sure if we have enough chunks to upgrade our axe yet, but...
Very well then.
Enough for 2 levels? Yep, I think we still march on towards 40 for strength. Not a huge increase, but that's fine. And I think I have 118 stored. Okay, that's not bad. I do want some throwing knives. And let's use some cold blood to do some weapon upgrading. If we have enough chunks, I think we might only have 2. Let's see if the Insight Messengers are selling chunks yet. Nope, they're not. Oh, and I forgot, we also need to pick up the Short Root Ritual Chalice. Wonderful. We have plenty of insight for that. Knock over some books. Let's do some Blood Gem Fortification. Looks like we haven't received anything meaningfully better for this one. That's right. This one's gosh, I hate weapon durability going down, but this is a really meaningful increase. Let's try it. Anything better here? It don't look like it. Oh, actually do look like it. Means there might be an improvement here. Nope. Wonderful. And the main one that we want to keep our eye on there is... Oh, yeah, we have to see if we have enough Bloodstone Chunks. Not yet. We're missing 1. Alright, we've got our pebbles, our throwing knives, our antidote. I don't think we need antidote. But we don't have very much use for anything else. Alright, so let's go ahead and read our new chalice. Is it here? It is. Short Root Ritual Chalice. Nothing super special going on in the art. One of the root chalices that breaks various seals in the old labyrinth. The glass chalice, when full, is used in a short ritual to quickly create and join a chalice dungeon. Not for use in a ritual during using standard materials. Short rituals are conducted at the makeshift altar. So this joins in another created and shared world. Alrighty, so... Cainhurst resides, I believe, yes, the unseen headstone. So let's head back. I'm going to keep the HUD on to see how the implementation of that blood gem and also my level up in strength translates to fighting these ghostly ladies, these witchy women. Ooh, witchy woman, see how I fly. We also have to read our vile blood register. Can we do that safely here? I think we can. There it is. Red leather record of the vile bloods loyal to the covenant of Annelids. Now, I think that Annelids is intentionally similar to Annelid because of the things that we talked about earlier and how Annelids and Anthropods seem to be the primary method of beastness, the primary shape of beasthood here in Cainhurst. But Annelids is queen of the vile bloods at Cainhurst Castle, a record of the vile bloods, bloodlusting hunters who seek blood dregs of their prey, kept throughout the ages. So this is basically a roster. So we want to avoid... Okay, now we're doing a significant amount with our light attack. Enough to 3-hit them? Nice. 3-hit with the light is a big improvement. Now really we want to take out this lady in the back. Two for one deal, baby! Aha! Thought I heard someone weeping over here by these books. You're gonna ruin these books with all your tears. Hey, man. Ma'am. Okay, now... This is a danger zone, so we're not gonna tackle it until... Wow, I can't believe I missed all those. I am a talented man. Talent? I've got it. Full of it. Alright. Lucky, really. Let's see how fast this weapon degrades. I had 250 to start with, and so it should only decrease to like 220 something. So I'm hoping that this blood gem doesn't eat away at the axe too fast. Okay, so it's not 3 light attacks then. But really we want to avoid that lady and her darts, because those darts, I believe, trigger a transformation of some of these weeping women into wraiths, like full-blown banshees, who lift their heads off of their bodies and start to shriek, and this binds you in like a red witchy energy. I think that tells a gruesome story. I think that probably all of these women were beheaded by the executioners. Okay, now let's go get, I think, Evelyn? Which is a 5-note. Damn it. Damn it, I'm gonna run. I'm gonna jump. I'm gonna leap. Let us read about Evelyn. Special pistol used by Cainhurst Knights, and let's see, what does it require? 18 blood tinge? Yeah, I ain't gonna be using that. The Evelyn uses quicksilver bullets, just as any workshop firearm, but the Cainhurst variant relies more on blood tinge. So this variant sort of enhances the bullet. The better or more full of quicksilver bullets your blood is, lovingly named after a woman, and graced with an intricate design. Evelyns were adored by Cainhurst Knights. So more of these overarching themes of style in Pursuit of Beasts as well. Cainhurst seems to have nailed that. Now, is there something else over here, or am I misremembering? I think I'm thinking of a different section of the library. Alright, now that we are safely done with this room, I'm going to turn the HUD back off. I like the little surprise when I finish up and see how many souls I got. Reeks of inquisitiveness. You are correct. Alright, now the upstairs. I think we're going to get our much craven Bloodstone Chunks all up in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ow. Stop that. This bothers me. Blow darts, eh? Very becoming of the servant, the surreptitious way to take out people from a distance with poison. Very, very flavor win, I think. No! No! This is not a great spot to be in with 3 boys around yous. And a window to falls out of. Yeah, let's put him behind some mahogany. Wow, that's some pretty good distance you got there on your Rider Palash, which I assume is what you're wearing, because it describes the Rider Palash as being used by servants and knights to take out beasts. So it might be that all the knights turned into beasts, and that's why we only see servants around, because it fell to the servants to try to take out the knights. That's assuming that all of this wasn't done in one fell swoop by the executioners. It could be that Cainhurst was in disrepair long before the executioners swung by. Okay. So the window we need to go out is back there. However, something tells me that there is a strong boy here. But there is a set of Bloodstone Chunks somewhere back here. Hey, buddy. You trying to sneak up on me and do me a dirty? Yeah, baby, there's my third chunk. There's my chunky blood. I love it. No mercy for fatty. They're not even fat. Oh, no mercy for fatties because we can't go through there. That's funny. Alright, let's take this path. I think there might even be... Okay, so there's a roundabout illusion showing that you can either get on top of this or that something else will occur to make that traversable later. An illusion like ALLU, letting us know, aha, that we should be looking out for shortcuts and secrets and salty, delicious blood. Okay, so we've done all we can do here, which is kill a bunch of servants, sadly. And now we start, just one of my favorite aspects of the level design of Cainhurst. Because Cainhurst was sort of under siege by the executioners, we see a lot of abnormal paths being carved out that sort of tell us the story of the siege of Cainhurst. I hear a gargoyle. There he is. That's right. Get on your belly. There's another one. There he is. He's deciding he wants to leave now. He's showing me his booty. He's doing the firecrackers. Ow. There we go. Beautiful. Twin Bloodstone Shards. Delicious. Now that is our true path over there. But before we go down our true path, let's go into this terrifying sadness library. This lady's strong. And now we hear the first of our banshee screaming headless ghost women. To avoid that at all costs. There's one right now, and there's another. Can't let... Looks like they're a lot weaker than the other ones, thankfully. They haven't been supercharged by the witch or servant. If there even is a witch or servant. No! And now we see our first vile blood sigil appear on our back. It looks like it is in fact the screaming head lady who puts that mark there. That's right. Can't catch me, I'm the gingerbread man. Alright. Are there more ghosties? Yep. No! No! There is a witchy lady. No! Okay, she's dead now. She's dead now. Please let me free. Please let me free from my witchy Blow dart. Life. I probably didn't need to use 3, but... witches are bitches, man. I'm sorry. I said it. I apologize to any Wiccans out there. It's not the sort of witch I mean. Alright, some QBs. Yes, please. And some stairs leading to a chest and a ghost. What do we got? 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 Ah, some knight's garb. And this garb is pretty fancy garb. I mean, look at that. Look at that. Look at that gab. Look at that gab. God, we're fancy. Fanciest lady in town, basically. Is that a Knights Wig that we got? Or I guess the wig is somewhere else. Knight's gloves, here we go. Gloves of the Knights of Cainhurst. So here we're seeing red and gold seem to be the colors of Cainhurst. A regal piece, graced with the gold work on red fabric. The Cainhurst way is a mix of nostalgia and bombast. They take great pride even in the blood-stained corpses of beasts that they leave behind, confident that they will stand as examples of decadent art. So we're sort of seeing the origin of this concept of like style preventing one from going blood mad. And perhaps this originates from Cainhurst. They seem to be a very stylish crew. Attire of the Knights of Cainhurst, a regal piece made with the finest leather. And a regal piece graced by intricate goldwork. Also see a neck froof, although we don't have a neck froof. Alright, now I do quite like the Knight's attire, but how strong is it? Oh, it's pretty weak to everything except for blood tinge. And I think same with the trousers. So let's head back to our Yahargal black trousers. Executioner trousers aren't bad. Worse thrust defense, but very good blunt defense. Let's keep our Executioner trousers on then. Oh, and I forgot about the Executioner's gauntlets. How do those stack up? Very good blunt defense, but I don't want to take that big of a hit to my normal defense. Okay, and we have another item over here. I think this might be the Knight's Wig, or the Executioner Gauntlet, probably. Executioner's Gloves. So I think that these are a different sort of Executioner than Church Executioner. I could be wrong, but let's take a look. These are arcane items, which I do not have the skills to use. One of the secret treasures hidden in Cainhurst, the gloves of an executioner from a faraway land. So I don't think that this refers to a church executioner. Passed from executioner father to executioner son. And this actually happened in history. A lot of times it was like kind of like a profane position to be an executioner. And so it was a trade that was passed amongst a family, and that family was often like sort of outcast. It's kind of sad, actually. The glove can be used to summon wrathful spirits of the past by smearing them with blood. It is said that the nobles found immeasurable delight in the dances of these vengeful specters. I think that this could be a reference to dark magics. We see a lot of vengeful skull sort of sorcery in the Dark Souls world when we look at dark magics. And dark magics have a lot to do with bleed as well. Pretty good item if you have an arcane build, which I do not. I do have on one of my other accounts, but not on this one, baby. Alrighty, so now we go down here. Don't look down, don't look down. And that is where we will go to open the shortcut. Before we do, let's take a little walk on the roof. This is a very nice roof. Oh ho ho ho. What do we have here? Is it a gargoyle? not want to let him get that heavy attack out. Done with kin cold blood. And so now the story really unfolds. Cold blood of the inhuman. So confirmed here, kin of the cosmos, brethren of the great ones. Used to gain unspeakable blood echoes. Dare not to delve into the world beyond humanity, the eldritch truth touched upon long ago at Bergenworth. Why is that here? I'm not sure. It's on this corpse, which looks to be a church hunter corpse, actually. Perhaps this is the church hunter that brought the forbidden blood to Cainhurst. Alright, I think this is just a shortcut room. And this is the ladder we saw earlier. Further opening a shortcut. So now, without any use of bonfire or I guess lantern, remember that our other shortcut is over there. That's the elevator. And now, boom, this shortcut has been opened. And I believe there's a scuttlebones or two up here that we do want to get. Time for encounters, that is correct. This should be the Knights Wig. Ooh, warm blood gemstone. Let's read that. So this one adds a lot of blood tinge scaling. That's pretty good. A blood gem that fortifies weapons and adds various properties. Yada, yada, yada. They're needed into weapons. Droplet blood gems. So this is another droplet gem. Are special gems that adapt to various weapons and shapes, naturally making them highly prized among hunters. So basically a droplet blood gem doesn't have to match the shape of the slot that it's on a particular weapon, which is very useful. Where's my Scuttlebee? Oh, there he is. There he is. Get back over here, Scuttlebee. Yeah, Bloodstone Chunks. Give them to me. I crave them. I came from the other direction, but I feel what you're saying there. It is correct. And more books. And more books. And wall. Chair. This looks like a really cool library. I'd love to go here. It's like a sort of library you find in New York. Bookbrary. Alright, now there's some stuff over there, which we will get. I think that might actually be the Knights Wig. And we have a red-eyed boy. I was afraid maybe that guy wouldn't stagger, but he did. And, yep, there's the Knights Wig. And we see two flappers coming through. Give me my blood back. Give me my blood bath. Give me my sponge bath. Alright, now to deal with this weirdo. Hey man, back up. Oh, I forgot about Whirly Move. I love Whirly Move. Spiral times, fun times. Alright, let's see if the Knight's Wig has a different description than the other Knight's equipment. Resembles a ponytail of silver hair. Shall we put it on? Oh, how stylish in my Knight's Wig. That's a much smaller hat than I thought it would be, I'm not going to lie. Does it have a headband? Oh no, that's just the blood that was caked on my face. Yeah, I'm not sure that not protecting one's head is the greatest way to engage in the hunt. Alright, and this is the pathway to old Martyr Ligarius. One of my favorite lead-ups to a boss, because it really makes you examine what has happened in Cainhurst. It gives you this beautiful, just absolutely beautiful, sprawling depiction of Cainhurst level design. And it shows you just the lengths that Ligarius has gone to make it as hard to access Queen Annelids as possible, knowing that if she cannot die, then she must be kept in quarantine, which is what he seeks to do, ultimately with a great amount of frivolity. I think we get more cold blood here. Yes, more kin cold blood. Wonderful. And hopefully there will be some bold hunter marks waiting for us up here so that we can zorp on back to the hunter's dream. And then that's where we'll call it for this episode. And next episode, we'll have sort of a boss rush episode where we take on, I think, Dark Beast Parl first to do a little bit more leveling, and then we try Martyr Ligarius right after, because this guy's tough, and I really don't think I am prepared to take him on at my current level. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. You can find my previous series on the Bloodborne solo and co-op playlist on my channel, Elucium Academy. Tune in next time for Dark Beast Parl and Martyr Ligarius. Bon voyage!